Hello and welcome to my review of Project Cars 3. Yes, I'm actually doing it. I received the box, it wasn't on fire. I opened the box and an army of angry squirrels didn't jump out and attack me. So, so far so good. There's been a lot of debate about what this game is and who this game is for. If this is an arcade game or a simulation game. I'm not really interested in those factors. I'm only interested really in, is this game fun? So the footage you're seeing at the moment is, it's one of the career mode races. I say race, it's a time trial. Let's have a good look at the screen. We've got bottom left we have a nice little map, which also shows us which corners we've mastered and how much of the racing line we've mastered. Bottom right is your usual fluff. The screen also shows the target we're aiming for. You see the word lap time that we're aiming for. Experience gained at the top there. We've got a delta against our best attempt at the top right. And we've even got little markers to hit braking points. So there's plenty there for players that like information, and also for players who are, wanting a little bit of a hand, who perhaps can't spend their entire day learning a track because they've got a life. The game itself is of course built on a simulation engine, and to some extent it doesn't feel all that arcadey. The game I probably related to the most in the feeling of its physics is Drive Club. As you can see at the moment, the rain effects are nice. And the cockpit view isn't bad. That's how it looks. How does it play? Well, the game seems to be optimised for controller, but as you can see by the hands on the steering wheel, when you're playing with a controller, the hands tend to freak out a little bit. The control can go all over the place, and sometimes the controls can feel a little bit inconsistent. The throttle control is quite smooth, I guess. As are the brakes. I found gear shifting on control a little bit clunky. I also tested the game on a Logitech G29 wheel. I didn't feel any kind of penalty with the wheel, but also it didn't feel better. Bit of an issue, as you can see, the game does have glitches, and you can expect a game to have, launch day glitches. But as you can see by this sequence, I was able to recreate this glitch over and over again, and it's kind of unforgivable having a glitch that can be recreated so easily. That should be something that's easy to identify and eliminate. So here's the campaign view. Just like a mobile game, it gives you targets to set in order to unlock a final challenge. And that final challenge will of course move on to other things. Along the way you'll be hitting experience targets to earn money to buy cars for these things you're going to move on to. So it's a very simple game loop. There's hot lap, which force you to set fast times, pace setter events, which check your average time, and of course races, which you're here to race, so you know what a race is, right? So there's not a massive number of different modes. Take a look at a race against the AI. As you can see, the cars themselves, they don't look great. In fact, they remind me of Real Racing 3 on mobile devices. They're kind of at that level. They don't look terrible. I mean, if this was supposed to be the most realistic driving simulator ever, then you might complain about this. If it was built at the next generation race game, you'd probably complain about the graphics. As it is, if you're more interested in the play of the game, the feel of the game, maybe you can forgive this. I know a lot of reviewers are complaining that the Slightly Mad Studios had the models from Project Cars 2. And as somebody who's played Project Cars 2, I think the cars actually look worse in Project Cars 3. I'm assuming that is an attempt to keep the frame rate up, because some of the races have a lot of AI cars. In fact, the online races can be quite big as well. Your campaign is split into categories which are based on power. Much like Gran Turismo's performance points, and other games use this system as well. So your car has a PIR, performance index rating, and every so often it goes up. The buying of extra bits for your car isn't rocket science. Neither is setup. It's all quite simple, very Forza-esque. The online mode, which I'm showing right now, I didn't have any kind of lag issues, which was interesting. Nobody seemed to be rubber banding or suddenly in a position they weren't meant to be in on the track. Except for me, of course, when I missed my braking point. Bit of a graphics glitch there. That happened whenever I passed anybody who was ghosted. I assume that's something they're going to patch out, because again, that's something that's very easy to recreate. The very nature of the game, the lack of pit strategy or anything like that, the lack of tyres, lack of fuel, means everybody's pretty close, and this can make some good pack racing. And you know, sometimes in a racing game you find yourself with no one in front of you for a few seconds, no one behind you for a few seconds. You don't really get that in Project Cars 3, sorry. And that's pretty good. I suppose that's a bonus. It can be like that as well in the offline mode of the game if you tailor the AI properly. I'm not going to talk too much about the soundtrack because there is nothing to talk about. The soundtrack is pretty diabolical, actually. It's invasive, it's inconsistent in its genres, and it doesn't seem to match the feel of the game at all. You know, 1 minute it sounds like you're listening to some great operatic piece, and then suddenly it's like you're being bounced back to Ridge Racer R4. All in all, is the game fun? The game isn't not fun. The racing itself is pretty great. I enjoyed the racing thoroughly. The time trials and the pace setter, there's too many of them. That's not a racing game, that's just a hot lapping game. So, final verdict on this, and how it shapes up against the other games I've reviewed. I think it's definitely in last place right now. Sorry. Like if you like, subscribe if you want. If not, hey ho. Maybe see you next time. Bye bye for now.